Hey, welcome back to Crimes and Closets. This is Christy in my closet in St. Louis.
And this is Beth in my closet in North Carolina.
And Phoenix in his closet in the living room.
Phoenix the bird. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
He's been singing to us.
I know. I'm like, man.
All morning long.
I left him in here because we're only doing intro. So I was like, well, it'll only be a couple minutes. But I mean, you probably won't even be able to hear him anyways, even if he does sing.
Yeah. I want to hear him do the whistle.
Well, he only does. Oh, well, I could try and get him to do it by picking up his cage.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it at the end and see real quick.
See what happens.
Yeah.
What's going on? Last of the serial killers today.
I know. It's kind of nice to be done.
It is. Mm-hmm. We do have another episode at the end of the month that's coming out, and it'll be out the 30th, so not next week, but the week after. It is not a serial killer.
Yeah. No.
And it is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad case. It is so sad.
It makes me want to vomit.
It does. Yeah.
Physically ill.
Yeah.
So.
Gosh, I feel like that's been happening this week anyways.
Well.
All the things. All the things going on.
Yeah. You know something that doesn't make me physically ill, though?
What?
I saw, oh gosh, there's people riding bikes on my street, but sorry, I got distracted because the high school does a bike unit and they're riding down my road right now.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyway, I saw on the Today Show this morning a story about John Bon Jovi. Have you heard this?
No, but I love him. Is it going to ruin it?
No. He saved a woman's life in Nashville yesterday.
Say what now, huh?
Because he was filming a video on the bridge in Nashville.
Yes.
And I don't know if it happened at the same time or he just happened to still be in the area. Because I'd imagine if he's filming a video, they had it kind of like blocked off at some point. Or maybe only one end. I don't know. I don't know like all the details. But she was on the ledge. And he went over and talked her off of it.
Like she was going to jump.
Yes.
Shut up.
Talked her off of it. And like literally went over there, talked to her for a minute, then helped her get back and like embraced in this hug with her.
I'm looking at pictures right now of them hugging.
Yeah. And on the Today Show, they were talking about how he has had like extensive training in talking to people in crisis because he has a JBJ Soul Foundation that focuses on helping people in crisis and in need, like homeless people, like a bunch of different kinds of people. But I was like, what in the?
He's a really, really cool dude. Like in all seriousness, I mean, he had his moment in like the 80s and early 90s where he was like a rocker dude. But in general, he is, if you look stuff up about his life, he's very cool. So like it doesn't actually surprise me, but that is crazy.
Not really cool. I'm going to totally look up his foundation now and like stalk it and maybe donate or I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I wonder if my sister knows this. I'm going to have to message her about this because she like lives and dies by John Bon Jovi. Like had put posters all over her wall and like back in the day. Like,
yeah. I thought it was a really cool story.
Really cool. And they'll be friends forever. She's
I
got
hope
a new bestie now in the JBJ.
I hope so. And I hope she gets whatever help she needs so that she doesn't feel that way anymore.
Crazy. Is this the bridge? You might not know this, but the one that's like going over like the Riverwalk Bridge.
I actually don't know. I didn't pay attention to what bridge it was.
Gotcha. Because you said he's filming a video there and it would make sense because that's like a really cool staple in Nashville.
Right. Yeah. So I'd imagine it was, but I didn't pay attention to that detail.
So interesting. Okay, well, I don't have anything nearly as cool as that, but I did want to tell you that I saw a TikTok today, literally this morning, about a word. So I just texted you the word, and I want you to say it.
Okay. Am I going to say it right?
Just don't overthink it. Just say it.
Oh, sherbet? Sherbet? Sorbet!
You said it the way everyone says
sherbet.
Sherbet.
And there's no R.
There's no R. It's sherbet.
Yeah.
It's sherbet. And so I saw this TikTok of this person saying sherbet and was like...
That doesn't even make any sense.
I'm like, wait a minute. Wait. Hold the phone. And so then I'm looking it up and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I am today years old and realized that everyone, not just me, everyone in the world that I am aware of, that I've ever personally had a conversation with about sherbet, which isn't a lot of people, they all say sherbet. No one says sherbet. No one, except this one person on TikTok that blew my mind today.
And now I'm like,
sherbet.
Sherbet. It's sherbet. I am unwell.
I've literally always said sherbet my whole life, and I make fun of you for adding letters at the end of
I know.
But I'm like, I'm going to say sherbet.
Well, no, I thought height was spelled that way, too. I wasn't, like, mispronouncing and misspelling or whatever. No, it's just plain as day. It's black and white, literally. Sherbet. And I was like, interesting. Okay. So immediately I was like, oh, if Christy says this word incorrectly, I'm telling everyone. Well, she says sherbet.
I thought it was spelled that way.
I did too.
Like I would have put an R in there, and probably Windows would have been like underlined, and I'd be like, "Why is that wrong? It's not wrong."
Clearly, we have never written about sorbet sherbet ice cream.
Yeah,
because we would know.
Interesting.
But it's funny, right?
Yes.
I died laughing. I thought that was so great. I'm glad you said it wrong.
I wonder if
Emery made my whole day.
I wonder if Emery says it right. I'm gonna have to test this.
Yeah. No. I know.
Say this word.
Well, here's what, and you got it, and that's what I was afraid was going to happen, because I said it's a mispronunciation. So I was afraid you were going to look at it and be like, well, obviously I can't say it how I want to say it. And I thought you would be like,
I said it the way I would say it normally, and then I would look at the word and I'm like, sherbet?
Sherbet. Enjoy your strawberry sherbet.
Oh my God.
We got to go order it now and say, I wonder what they say at the sherbet shop.
And then there's well, probably, I know, I wonder. But see, now there's a difference between sherbet and sorbet, isn't there?
I know.
Like they're spelled differently, and there's a difference. I don't know what the difference is.
Sorbet is SORBET.
Right, but I don't know what the difference between the two like types are. Like I'd have to have them like side by side. I would be like calling one a sorbet and one sherbet.
Sherbet, that's what you would call it. Don't lean in. Come on now. Don't change your mind now.
Now I've heard it. I can't go back.
I know. But I want to go order it and see if they say sherbet and see if they're like.
Sure, I have in a restaurant if they have sherbet? Like
no, I want to say it correctly.
I'm like, can I have orange sherbet, please?
Hilarious. Anyway. Come on, you guys have to tell us. Please write us in and tell us if we are the only ones that have been saying. Yes, if we were today years old.
Yeah, please.
And realized that there was no R. There was, in fact, no R in sherbet.
Clue. I had no clue. No clue. Anyway.
Okay. Well, that's my news for the day. You're welcome. We are all now dumber.
Thank you.
Welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to quick and see if I can get Phoenix before we say goodbye. Hold on a second.
She's going to go. She's picking up the bird. Go me down. Yes, he did it. That is so cute. It is clear as day.
Could you hear it?
Oh yeah, clear as day.
He'll go whoop 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 whoop.
Yes. I love it. Oh, Phoenix. I want to pick Phoenix up when I come there soon.
You're like, well, I can pick the cage up.
Yeah. Right.
You can't get to me.
Even that's really brave of me, though.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, I guess I have the last serial killer here waiting for you if you want to hear it.
I want to get this over with. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, then here we go.
Okay.
So I've been dragging my feet for a while with this, as you know. I mean, not just because it's a serial killer. I've just been like on not doing podcast mode for a really long time.
Yes. It's very difficult to get back in the swing of it, and to have to get back in the swing of it with serial killers is just, we did not think that through.
No. Well, I don't really know that we did that on purpose. Like it just happened like the way life was. We were like, boom. Nothing.
Oh, no, I definitely was like, I'm not doing serial killers till I absolutely have to.
Oh, well, that, yes. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think I intended to have this long of a break of not doing anything, pretty much.
Right.
And then boom, serial killers.
Right.
Because remember, I had that other person, like somebody who's like in another month or so, I had them on my list that I was going to be working on them because I intended to work on her. But then it got to a point where I was like, nope, I got to do serial killer now. So,
right.
Anyway.
Right.
All right. So when I did eventually dive in, it was really strange to find that I couldn't find, like, I found so little on the early years of this guy and even the victims and stuff like that. Because typically, like, our serial killer episodes are like, we've in the past done 2 because they can get so long and
right,
whatever. And you can really dive in. But clearly, not every case out there has all that. So I have some.
And mine was similar to that too, and which is interesting. But you know what I think it is? So we sometimes pick our serial killers personally. Like,
True.
I know for me, I wanted to do Ed Kemper.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there's so much out there about him because he's so well known. The ones that we did this year are all listener suggestions. And those are just smaller, lesser known cases anyways.
Right. Yeah.
They're not the mainstream, Geen and...
Yeah, we've definitely done bigger ones because they're just more well-known. So that's probably why there's so much information. You're right. These are just like, well, yeah, they're a serial killer, but there's so many serial killers out there. They can't dive into every single one and put it all out there on the internet. So,
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
And that is why we like your all suggestions, because they're lesser known cases that no one knows anything about. So
Exactly. So clearly I had enough for an episode, so that's fine. It's just not, my notes say it's just not the typical amount that we have for these buttholes.
I love that you wrote
funny.
You are funny.
Okay. Anyway, today we are diving into a serial killer that our listener Juliana sent us over on Facebook.
Okay. Beautiful name.
Yes. I never heard of this guy, and the only reason I picked it was because it was bringing us back to our favorite hellhole.
Florida?
Nope.
Texas?
Gary, Indiana.
Oh my gosh. No way.
Didn't your sister just recently almost go through Gary, Indiana on a trip, and she was like, nope, we'll go down south of it.
Yes, and she sent us a message with like a picture of the map.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there's a serial killer from there?
Yes. And I want to say, like, somewhere I read that it was called like the Gary Strangler, but like when I Googled that, it didn't really come up with a whole lot. So maybe it was like locally known as that or something, but anyway.
A strangler. Oh, yuck. And also if it was called that, I would not go to Gary, Indiana. Like my brain would not go, oh, it happened in Gary, Indiana. My brain would be like, they're strangling all the Garys.
Or his name is Gary.
No, I literally would think they're strangling all the Garys.
Only people named Gary.
Only Garys.
Well, that would be sad.
It would be really sad. I know a Gary.
The Golden Bachelor guy would be safe though, because his is actually like spelled Jerry but Gary. So like maybe they'd see his name and be like, nope, it's Jerry. Sorry.
Right. True.
Tangent.
Well, thank goodness for that then.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Anyways. All right. So today we're talking about Darren Deon Vann. Darren was born on March 21st, 1971 in Indiana. I'm not exactly sure where in Indiana. And after birth, I don't have much until finding out that he graduated in 1990 from Lima Senior High School in Lima, Ohio. So clearly, family moved at some point. He took some auto mechanics class in high school, and his classmates described him as a quiet, friendly guy. He then joined the Marine Corps, and he has quite an extensive, different, what do you call them, assignments over this short period of time. So anyway, he was a part of the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego, and then he went to the Marine, and I'm not sure that these are all in the correct order. I just know that he did all of these things. He then went to the Marine Combat Training at Camp Pendleton. At some point, he was assigned to which I don't know how you say this, but 7222 Hawk Missile System Operation at Fort Bliss in Texas.
Oh.
And also had a short assignment at the 3rd Light Anti-Aircraft Missile Battalion in Cherry Point, North Carolina.
I know where that is.
And a temporary assignment at the Marine Aviation Weapons and Tactics Squadron 1 in Yuma, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Darren's getting around.
Yeah. He's been to many different places in this, like, just over a year, because all of these assignments occurred between July 1992 and September 1993.
I wonder if there was like a problem with them and they were like, ugh, we can't kick you out of the military, but we want you to go do something else.
Well, so all of this happened before he got an other than honorable discharge.
Oh, so not dishonorable, but
I guess that's just the way it was worded, and all of the stuff I read about it was other than honorable discharge. But I feel like that's just another way of saying dishonorable discharge.
No. There's like there's an honorable discharge. There's another kind of a discharge, and it's not dishonorable, but it also is like you don't get some benefits. Like you don't get college funds. There's like, they take things away if it's not honorable.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's, again, little to no information that I can find onto the reason for this, but there was a statement from the Marines that stated, Mr. Vann's premature discharge and rank are indicative of the fact that the character of his services were incongruent with the Marine Corps expectations and standards. Due to the associated administrative processes, further details are not releasable. So, no clue what the heck he did.
Right.
Basically. And the Marines ain't talking. So, okay. So, now, living in Austin, Texas, he then meets a woman through a mutual friend named Maria. The woman he met, not the friend. Maria was 30 years older than Darren, and that's really all we know about her, because for a long time she didn't even want to be identified when interviewed. So like her name is like in one place that I saw.
That is a cougar.
Yeah.
30 years older.
30 years older.
So he's in his 20s.
Yeah, I figured this out because he was born in 71 and this is now 95, so he's 24.
Yeah. So she was 54.
Yeah, because they got married in 1995.
They got married.
Mm-hmm, they did.
Married the cougar.
And they were married a total of 16 years, but not necessarily together for those 16 years.
Oh.
Maria would later say that Darren was a quiet, protective person. Like, he protected the people he loved. He was friendly and happy. He was a good friend and never treated her badly. He did not drink, and at times he was somewhat of a loner. She had when all information eventually comes out about him, she is in shock that this is the path that he went down.
Interesting.
Yeah. However, she had a son named Edward, and when he was interviewed years later, he said that he wasn't the biggest fan of Darren because he said he had been fired from a temp agency and after that had trouble finding good work and was just not the same. So maybe he did make this switch over at some point, and son noticed it a little bit more than mom because she's love, blah, 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 whatever.
The son was probably older than him.
Oh yeah, I don't know because he doesn't say. But yeah, it's possible they were the same age maybe. And it just creeped him out. But anyway, he did say that he would kind of walk around talking to himself at times and just seemed a little bit unstable. So yeah. Okay. So in 2000, Maria and Darren moved back to Gary, Indiana.
Okay.
He got a job at a steel mill and a casino. And after that, he had a series of security and maintenance jobs. So Maria did say he would lose jobs, but he would always find another one. So he was never just sitting around doing nothing. So in 2004, he got himself a girlfriend, even though he was married to Maria.
Oh, well, that's not nice.
No. Maria will say that she had heard rumors and that he had kind of started acting in a way that made her think that he was stepping out into another relationship. And then one day, this girlfriend who had been, I'm pretty sure, living with another man, but I don't know that they were in a relationship because the wording in the articles were a man who housed the girlfriend.
Okay.
That's such a weird wording.
I was just going to say, everything so far that you're saying is weirded strangely.
Yeah.
Is that a Gary thing?
Must be. They're trying to sound elite by saying it in these ways, but it just makes me confused. He housed her.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so Darren becomes quite upset with this man. Possibly he was suspicious that they were in a relationship or something or doing something outside, but he was married. So, like, what he has to say about that, I don't know. Anyway.
Hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah. But Darren threatened to burn down / blow up this man's house.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that police were called by this guy because he was being threatened, and they came out and approached Darren and the girlfriend, and Darren proceeded to grab this woman and threatened to burn himself and her if they came any closer, and he had like a gasoline can in his hand.
This is his girlfriend?
The girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was threatening to burn down the guy who was housing her house.
And her.
Well, now he's threatening to burn her because police are coming for him because he made this threat. So it's like his way.
And what does he think's going to happen if he says, "Oh, you're coming for me because I made this threat, so I'm going to light us both on fire, and then you'll stop coming for me."
Yeah. I know. I won't. You'll just back away and leave me alone forever.
Yeah.
You won't come back when I'm least expecting it and grab me.
Silly plan, Darren.
Yeah. Police were able to subdue him and take him into custody, and they charged him with a Class D felony, and he was given 90 days in jail.
Oh.
I looked up what a Class D felony was, and it just seemed like it was like assault, like arson, like it was a bunch of stuff that like now, like nothing in there says that you would get 90 days. It says like at least like 6 months to like up to 10 years for these things. So I don't know if that just switched at some point, but anyway, he only gets 90 days in jail for this.
Well, maybe he got 60 months and only served 90 days.
I don't know. It said he was given 90 days in jail. But it could also be that because he didn't actually commit the act of arson, like he was just threatening it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a little bit difference there, I feel like.
True.
So, okay, so after he's released, he moves back to Austin, Texas. I believe this is around 2005, and it was around that time that Maria became estranged from Darren. She did not go with him.
Okay.
In 2007, he is arrested for aggravated assault. He had arranged to meet up with a 25-year-old woman. He's 36 at this time. He took her to an apartment, and when they entered, he asked her if she was a police officer. And when she was like, no, he attacked her, and he repeatedly choked her, struck her over the head, and raped her multiple times.
That is terrible.
Yes. Awful. He was indicted in July 2008. He pled guilty in September of 2009 and was given 5 years in prison. He was released in 2013 after being credit for time in jail awaiting for this trial. And Maria had filed for divorce in 2009 while he's in prison.
Yeah.
But their divorce was not finalized until 2011.
Okay.
So basically they were like together for 10 years. And then he
moved to
and
Texas.
she didn't go with him. So when he was released on July 5th, 2013, he at this point must register as a sex offender. He registered in Texas and then informed them that he would be moving back to Gary, Indiana. So he goes back, and Texas informs Indiana, or whatever, the counties inform each other that he's coming and that he is a sex offender, but a low-risk sex offender. Meaning based on his conviction and time served, it was a low risk of him reoffending. Which I don't know why.
Okay. Also, you can't just move out of state when you're on parole.
Well, apparently you can, because they allowed him to.
Well, they didn't allow Gypsy to. Remember, Gypsy Rose wanted to stay in.
What was it? They made her move out of state. She did move out of state.
You're right, because she was in Missouri, and
they were like, "Get out now!"
Yeah, go to Louis. You're right. I had it backwards. Okay,
so I think it's like you have like. I mean, I don't really know, but my guess is like, well, if you're like, okay, I can go back to my home state where I'm from and get a job easier and like start my life
and have family support and all that.
Fine, go. But we're going to still check on you. You still have to register, which he does. He registers in Gary.
Okay.
They also, police were sent out to confirm he was living where he said he was living, and he did. His neighbors were like, he's a good neighbor, friendly, on the neighborhood watch committee. Like,
oh my goodness.
What? The sex offender on your neighborhood watch committee? I mean, maybe they didn't know at the time. I don't know. Were they like knocking on people's doors saying you have a sex offender next to you at that time? I don't know.
Well, I've never gotten that knock.
Yeah, but you have one close enough. I think it's like a radius.
Oh, well. Yes.
Well, I don't know.
I check that.
Oh,
website.
I used to check it a lot when I lived in other areas, but I don't think I've checked it. Well, I did check it here at one point when we first lived here, but anyway. Okay, so this is where the awful part of our story begins. I mean, I know he already did commit a pretty heinous crimes, but nothing compares to what he's about to do. Okay, so here we meet Africa Hardy. She is absolutely stunning.
That is a cool name also,
yes.
And I am very upset already.
Yes. I looked at a picture of her and I was like, oh my gosh. I could not believe how beautiful she was.
Well, now you're making me want to look her up.
Yeah. Beautiful, big hair, light colored skin. She's just super pretty. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, she is.
You see her? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So she's a 19-year-old girl born April 19th, 1995 in Illinois. Don't know much about her early life either, but I know she moved to Colorado around 2009 with her mother. She graduated from Aurora High School, or a high school in Aurora, but it could be Aurora High School. I don't know.
Okay.
After this, she decided she wanted to move to Gary, Indiana to start a new life. I'm not really sure what drew her there because I would not be like, you know what? I'm going to start over. I'm going to go to Gary.
In Gary.
I don't know. Oh, except that it's somewhat if you were born and raised in Illinois, that's not far. Chicago's just north of there, 20 miles. True. It's not far from big things. So anyway, okay. So she goes back to she goes to Gary. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Within 3 months of getting there, she and a woman named Shamika Cunningham had started their own little company.
Oh, cool.
Well, it was a sex worker company.
Oh, well, that's okay. I mean, not for me, but.
No, they were using Backpage.com, which is a website used to find prostitutes, escorts, etc. And they started getting customers and started making money. So apparently, they called it a company. I don't think it was an official company, but it was the two of them did this together. And I think they did that because it was a way of them staying safe. Oh, you have a partner that you are constantly in communication with. So, oh, well, it's been this long. She should be contacting me by now kind of thing. Always keeping an eye on it for each other.
Okay.
So on October 17th, 2014, she had set up, they worked together to set up a time to meet up with a man that was called Big Boy Appetite on Backpage.com.
Okay, I'm here now. So they would literally go together. It would be two women.
No, they would both set up these appointments so that each other knew exactly where they were going to be. Okay. And they would be in somewhat constant contact so that they knew right away if something was wrong. Mm-hmm. They knew something, they were on it. So
got it.
Okay. So Africa and this Big Boy Appetite, which is Darren, meet at Motel 6 in Hammond, Indiana, which is just west of Gary. After a while, I'm assuming there's a typical time frame that they use with these men, Shamika calls and texted Africa to check on her. She got no answer. Then all of a sudden she received a series of texts from her that she said did not make any sense. She was this is not Africa talking to me.
Oh no.
So she just assumed it was this male person that she had met.
Big Boy Appetite.
Yes, Big Boy Appetite, and proceeded to head over to Motel 6 to check on her. She brought a friend with her, a male friend. They entered the room, and they found the room in disarray, and Africa's body was in the bathtub.
Oh, no.
Yes. They immediately called police. Africa was found in the tub, and she had been strangled to death. Shamika was able to give police the phone number of Darren because she had been part of the process. This is also part of the thing. At least somebody else has a record in case he takes the phone or whatever. Mm-hmm. She's able to give the phone number of Darren because she'd been part of the process. And then they were also able to obtain surveillance footage from the motel. They see who the man is because she didn't have his real first name because he was known as Big Boy Appetite.
Right.
So they're able to see the man who is last seen with Africa and also see the car that he gets into to pull out of the parking lot. Which is a blue Jeep or something. So with all that information, they're able to identify Deon's van as a suspect. Mm-hmm. He is arrested on October 18th, just one day after Africa is found. It did not take long for Darren to start talking either. He did express surprise that she was found so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
and that they found him just as quickly. And then he immediately confessed. He said,
she was just strangled. Sorry, you're probably about to
I'm
say
about to
all
tell you.
of that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
He said things got rough during sex and Africa hit him, and he started choking her with his hands and then used a brown extension cord that he had brought with him. He had to be planning this. He brought an extension cord with him.
Right. Not something I keep in my, like, belongings.
I keep them here because you need them at home. You don't necessarily need them in your car.
or a hotel, right.
Yeah. He then carried her to the bathtub, turned on the shower, and left. Then, to the surprise of officers, Darren starts talking more.
They always do.
Yes.
Dirty little birds.
Exactly. The total length of this interview is about 14 hours long.
Oh my gosh.
He started telling police that he wanted the death penalty because he did not want to spend the rest of his life in prison. He said he would tell them all about all the other murders he had committed.
Oh my gosh.
But he's not even on the radar of anything at this point.
Yeah, it's like Israel Keys. He did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So over the next few days, he would tell them about murders he committed, where he left bodies, and he would accompany them to the scenes while they found him or found them. In all, including Africa, they would discover 7 bodies.
All of them were not discovered?
No.
Like, oh my gosh.
I want to say maybe one was discovered a few days before, possibly, but I actually don't even think so because there was like a discrepancy in the dates on certain things, but I'm pretty sure most of them were found within a few days. One was found like 5 days later. So anyway.
So at that time, all of these people were just missing.
Yes. And
wow.
a lot of articles talk about the fact that a good number of them were like sex workers and drug addicts and not necessarily people that people would have reported missing right away. Although some of them were. And at least one, I don't think was either or a sex worker or a drug addict. So anyway, so it's whatever. Anyway. Okay. Plus, they're reported missing and where they are, they just weren't thought to or thinking to look in these places to find these people. So anyway, okay. Some of them they were able to identify quickly and others would take a bit longer to identify. Because I want to say one goes back like a year before.
Oh my gosh.
At least. Okay. And all of the women were found within a 5-mile radius of each other in abandoned houses in Gary.
Can you imagine if all of a sudden they just found 5 or 6 dead people?
No, not at all.
In your town, all right together?
Yeah, it like freaked people out big time.
Totally. It's freaking me out.
So I'll post a map because it has like all the pins where they're found. You can see they're all just like clustered there. So, okay. So here's what I know about all of the other victims. Anith Jones, which is a 35-year-old woman who was reported missing on October 10th, 2014. So this was like a week before, essentially.
Okay.
According to Darren, he had set up a time to meet Anith at a house for sale in Maryville, Indiana. I don't know why they were meeting there. Maybe because it was not abandoned, but like empty. In which that's like just south of Gary, Indiana. They were meeting to have sex. He ended up killing her over $300 and 2 8-balls of crack cocaine. He choked her with the same cord he would use just a little over a week later on Africa.
Oh my gosh.
He states he then put her body in a trash can and brought her to an abandoned property in Gary. He told police they should go down to the basement. He gives them the address. Go down to the basement of the home and find her under a tire and a teddy bear. Like you've got some like serious details here. And you remember, I mean, it was only a week before, but yeah, a tire and a teddy bear. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the next one is the one that I'm like, I don't get this one at all. Sonia Billingsley was a 52-year-old woman. I mean, we know that he likes older women. Clearly, he was married to an older woman for years. She was born June 27, 1961. She was a beloved mother and grandmother who was active in her church. So I'm saying, like, this one doesn't make any sense. Like, she doesn't seem like a sex worker.
Fit that victim profile.
No. Like, none of them make sense, but this one makes the least sense to me. There's no mention of her meeting for sex with him. He just basically, like, says, This is where you can find this woman. I strangled her with a rope or a clothesline. She went missing February 7th, 2014. So and then she was found on October 19th.
Oh.
She was found along with another victim named Tanya Gatlin, a 27-year-old woman who went missing in January, so a month before Sonia went missing.
Okay.
Darren brought her to the house, or them to the house that they were left in, and told police they could both be found in the basement by a door. And this house was within sight of the house that Anise was found in. There's really he didn't give any information about like these two and sex like he did the other one. So Tierra Beatty, who was a 28-year-old, originally from St. Paul, Minnesota, she graduated from Highland Park Senior High School in 2004. Sometime after that, she moved to Gary with her whole family. Tierra had a boyfriend and a 2-year-old son. Oh. She was in the process of planning his like 3rd birthday, probably, I think, at Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah. On January 13th, 2014, she left to go out with a friend and never came back. I do think that, well, no, I know that she had a drug problem. Mm-hmm. But when she didn't come back and she didn't come back for the birthday party, her mom was like, there's no way she would ever miss her son's birthday party, like no matter what. So
right.
That's when she really knew something was really wrong. She called, though, home a day or so later. There it is. And was like crying on the phone, but didn't say anything and then hung up. So her mom's like, I don't know if she was trying to get in touch with us and ask for help and he was there and like couldn't say anything, but that's all they got.
Oh, that's sad. That poor mom. Like that phone call is going to haunt her forever.
Yeah, no kidding. Darren said he lured Tierra to an abandoned home with the promise of paying for sex with crack cocaine. When they entered the home, he strangled her with a rope. He brought police to the home and told them she would be found under a wooden bench in a room with the door propped shut with a dresser. So, like, there's a dresser up against it.
My gosh, he, like, mind, like, steel or something. Like, he's, like, such detailed stuff.
Yeah, because I get why Anith, because, like, that was just the week before. But this was 10 months before, January.
Right.
Tracy Martin was a 41-year-old woman who Darren promised to pay for sex, but then started punching her when they entered the home that they agreed to meet at, and he told police she could be found in a closet in the home. Christine Williams was a 36...
Oh my gosh, they just keep coming, these women.
Well, this is the last one.
Holy crap.
Christine Williams was a 36-year-old woman. Her family believes that she may have been killed a year earlier than Africa. They believed she was dating Darren because at some point she told her sister, if I ever go missing, look for me in an abandoned house.
What?
Mm-hmm. So she knew something that happened.
So she's the first victim, technically.
Well, could be, or he had told her that he had done this before.
Oh.
And there are more out there.
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe he takes her there, beats her, like, so he's not doing, I have no idea. But anyway, Darren said he beat her to death over a drug debt and she would be found under some plastic in the basement of one of those abandoned houses. I mean, he brought him to the one that it was in. During the police interview, they asked him how he picked his victims and he said they were just random, completely random. Mm-hmm. He said he would start to get this feeling, so then he would stay far away from his family so he wouldn't harm them. He would just like get on a bus or a train and go. He would get whatever this overwhelming feeling was, and then killing would be like a release for him. He told police that he did not want to give them names of victims in other states. He made statements like, there are more in Illinois, like way more. He said he would get that feeling, get out, like I said, take a bus or train, whatever, say when things don't go right, he rages. He said there's triggers from his past, but we don't know what happened in his past, so I can't tell you what those would be, but that would cause him to do it, or he would just be mad. He said one of them was his friend. I want to say that was probably Christine, since I think they were dating. Mm-hmm. So one of them was his friend, and he didn't really want to kill her, but he did. Multiple states started investigating strangulations to see if they could like link like murders to him, whatever.
I was
like,
just going to say, yeah, missing people, especially missing sex workers.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot in Illinois in general, and they haven't been able to link them to anything yet. Some investigators believe that there's a lot more victims of Darren Deon Vann out there and could span multiple states and 20 years.
I would believe it.
Yeah. Some of the states that were mentioned were California, Texas, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and Illinois. But nothing's been linked to him yet. Africa's murder clearly was the one that helped catch Darren. 3 years after her murder, he pled guilty to all 7 murders. He received a life sentence for each of those murders to be served concurrently. He is serving his sentence in the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility in Carlisle, Indiana. And in 2019, the city decided to demolish all of the properties and work with the families to build memorial gardens in those spots for the victims because they just didn't want those abandoned properties to be there anymore.
Wow.
So, anyway.
There's a lot of abandoned properties in Gary, at least 7. Well, 6, because 2 of them were found together.
Yeah, I was going to say there's like 5 or 6. I can't remember now. But anyway, yeah.
That's very scary.
Mm-hmm. Yes, agree.
I mean, that he got away with that.
Yeah, for so long. And there's probably a ton more. I would not be surprised.
100%.
I don't know how they'll link him to him. Because he doesn't want to get any interstate, jurisdiction or whatever, having to extradite him. He didn't want to get all that in the mix. So that's why he said he wasn't going to talk about anybody else.
Didn't want to be inconvenienced by that. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, there are probably loved ones out there and their person is missing and he knows where they are.
Yeah, and so that means there's people out there that will literally never get to know what happened.
Yeah, because so if they find body, there's DNA. So that is pretty crazy that there's not even if they're Jane Doe's, they still put their DNA in the system, right?
Right.
And now his DNA is in the system.
Yep. Yeah, so they might be able to link him at some point for sure, but they just haven't yet. That I know of.
And tell me when you got caught, what year?
14, October.
So 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've never linked him in 10 years to anybody else?
Not that I've seen. You think it would be a major thing. I haven't seen an article past when 2019 when they said they were going to demolish all of them and do memorial gardens. I will say also on Murderpedia, or I think that's what it is. You know that that website. It says on there awaiting trial. So they're not updating anything on him because it's in whatever jail awaiting trial. I'm no, he's not. He's not good. He didn't go to trial because he pled guilty. So it's kind of weird. But
yeah, interesting that why is no one talking about this guy, this butthole, like you said?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. He's a piece.
I have never, ever heard of this, ever. Not a whiff of this.
You would think that they would just want to do some huge documentary on him because of the possibility of all of the victims spanning 20 years.
Israel Keys vibes, which we covered a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know what to say about this.
I know. I'm glad I picked him because I'm glad that Juliana sent him. Right. And I'm glad that I just saw Gary, Indiana, and I was I'm in. Because
if ever there's one that I want to for them to go, the Doe Project, they need to pick this guy up.
Yeah.
And start finding these other people, these other victims. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I want to nail him to the wall.
And the fact that his ex-wife was in shock that he did this. He was really, and he likely was doing it when he was married, I would imagine.
Well, I think he for sure was doing it when when they separated and they weren't physically living together. Where did he go? Texas?
Mm-hmm.
I think he for sure did it then.
Yeah.
But also he said that whenever he got these feelings, he would leave his family so that he didn't hurt them.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't live with his family.
Right. Well, so that means, yeah, it was probably
So
happening.
he had to have been married at the time, or maybe he's talking about his family.
Yeah, it could have
like
been anybody.
parents.
I mean, and just was like, I don't want to be anywhere near them, so I'm going to go somewhere far enough that I don't go over to their house, say, out of convenience or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. It's really strange that there is not more out there on him. And I searched and searched and searched, and not even the victims. Like some of the victims, I had a hard one. I couldn't even find a picture of unless it was like in the like group shot.
Yeah,
it was so weird. I'm like, why?
Well, because whenever we know, sex workers and people who are involved in addiction, they don't get airtime. They don't get, they're not the quote perfect victim or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's very sad.
Yep.
And we need to do better. But even especially back then, now I feel like we don't consider them like forgotten, like, 10, 15 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Terribly sad. But anyway, that is crazy. Well done. Way to end it with a bang.
I didn't want to.
I know. Man. He's worse than Philip Engel. He's worse than my serial killer.
Right.
My serial killer killed the elderly people.
Oh, I don't know. I don't really like people who kill elderly people either. So,
well, at least Philip was like very mentally disturbed. It doesn't sound. I mean, Darren obviously is mentally disturbed, but like he doesn't have any mental health disabilities. Like he's just walking around.
I know,
knowing exactly what he's doing and not giving a crap about it.
Clearly has somewhat of a drug problem. I don't know when that started, since like some of these had to do with drugs and
true,
whatever. But I don't know when that started. He clearly did not have that in the Marines. Well, unless he did, and that's why he got kicked out. Like, because we don't even know that.
Yeah, we need to know more information. Dateline? Could you call us, please?
Yeah, exactly.
Or somebody. He needs like a whole docuseries.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe they'll start looking into connecting him to other murders of missing.
I wish I had known when we went to CrimeCon. I would have been like John or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah, Josh Mankiewicz.
Josh Mankiewicz. Mankiewicz, can you please take a look?
Yeah,
Darren,
Chris Hansen. Let's take a selfie, and will you please look into the serial killer? Thank you.
Yeah, this predator's already caught, but can you look into him a little bit?
Can't we write into Dateline? You can do that.
Sure.
Right?
I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
We can write in and be like, long-time listener, first-time caller.
And maybe there was one out there on him, and like it got, how some of those get taken down, but I doubt it, because usually you see there's a Dateline episode and you just can't find it anywhere.
Well, no, I think if there were a Dateline episode on him, then you would have been able to find more information, because
that's true.
On a Dateline, it just naturally gets put out there and
right, and
about.
then you have like almost like a transcript of the Dateline.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, we got to write this one in.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Juliana, for sending this our way. And thank you guys for joining us for this installment of Serial Killer September. Did I sound like I was from Dateline?
Yeah, you did.
Nice. It's over. We're so glad. We are going to do regular episodes from now on. So we've finished. We've done that. Yay!
Woohoo!
Serial Killer September 2024 in the books. We do have survivors over on the Patreon. They are all out at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, no. There's one coming out on the 20th.
Yeah.
So one is out. My survivor is out over on Patreon. It's real good. She's awesome. You will not want to miss her. And it's a good month to join again, because all of your proceeds in the month of September are going to our Pedal the Cause, which is at the end of the month, which we'll be together for, because I'm going to fly up there to St. Louis.
Yes.
And I'm going to ride myself a bike.
Yeah, you are.
Mm-hmm. With a whole bunch of people, so I don't get murdered.
Yes. Yes, we will be safe.
Yes.
Can I mention this real quick? Didn't somebody on Instagram mention maybe next year do Unsolved September? Or something like
I did not see this.
You answered it.
I did? I did not remember this.
I know it wasn't me that answered it. I just happened to see it later on.
Wait, how would you do unsolved serial killers?
No, just not serial killers. It's like take a break from serial killers and do it. Because she was like,
yes.
this woman said something like she doesn't typically like unsolved. She likes to listen to solved, but the Dyatlov Pass, is that the one that she commented on? I can't remember. She was like, this one was interesting or whatever. She liked it. And she was like, what about doing an unsolved September? So like just doing unsolved cases in September. So
okay. I do remember that now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, we will. That would be
We have
great.
a year. We have a year.
I would like to shake things up in the month of September, personally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but you guys have to let us know what you think. Anyway, thank you very much, Christy, for giving us this last serial killer. Thank you guys very much for listening. We love you. Happy Monday. Not so happy. Darren sucks. Mm-hmm. The world is scary. People suck, especially serial killers. Hide in your closet.